You know, some of the most fundamental ideas in our modern world, things we totally take for granted, had to be invented somewhere. I'm talking about concepts like money. It has a specific birthplace, and today we're going back in time to that exact place, the ancient city of Sardis. So let's think about this. Before you could just reach into your pocket and pull out a coin, how did you actually buy anything? I mean, imagine trying to buy a loaf of bread, but all you have is, I don't know, a piece of jewelry or maybe a sack of grain. For thousands of years, this was the central problem of trade.
Well, the solution, and it was a truly revolutionary one, didn't come from a place you might expect, like Athens or Rome. It came from a city that was uniquely positioned for a massive breakthrough. A city that was, quite literally, built on a river of gold. The magnificent city of Sardis, the capital of the Lydian Kingdom.
So let's dive into it. How did this one city solve a problem that had stumped the entire world, and in doing so, change the course of economic history forever? Okay, so early trade was, to put it mildly, chaotic. Bartering was a total nightmare. I mean, what if the baker didn't want your goat? So using chunks of precious metal was a step up, but it was so clumsy. You'd have to weigh it out for every single transaction. But the biggest problem, the real kicker, was trust. How could you be sure that lump of gold wasn't secretly mixed with cheaper, worthless metals?
The Lydians of Sardis had a secret weapon, a unique advantage that was flowing right through their city, the Pactolus River. This river was packed with a substance called electrum, which is a natural mix of gold and silver. And this stuff, it would become the raw material for a revolution.
The Lydian solution was so simple but absolutely world-changing. They took that electrum, they created standardized little lumps of it, all with a uniform weight, and then they did something that was pure genius. They stamped each one with the state's official emblem. And that stamp, that was everything. It was a guarantee. It was the Lydian Kingdom saying, we certify this piece is a specific weight and a specific value. And just like that, for the first time in human history, money was backed by a government. This solved the trust problem and created something entirely new, an economy.
And boy, did this invention create wealth. It's most famously connected to the last Lydian king, a guy named Croesus. The fortune he controlled was so legendary that thousands of years later, we still use the phrase as rich as Croesus to describe someone who is unbelievably wealthy. And it all started right here.
But inventing money? That was just the beginning. Sardis used its incredible wealth and its perfect location to become a real powerhouse, the center of a huge network of trade and communication.
See, Sardis wasn't some isolated city. It was the western anchor of one of the ancient world's most important pieces of infrastructure, the Royal Road. And we're not just talking about a dirt path. This was a superhighway connecting entire civilizations. And the history of this road is just fascinating. It actually got its start under the Lydians. But then, after the Persians conquered Sardis, Emperor Darius the Great saw how incredibly valuable it was. So he didn't destroy it, he repaired it, improved it, and extended it all the way to his capital. It literally became the backbone of the Persian Empire, which shows just how vital Sardis was, even after it was conquered.
Okay, we've talked about the big picture stuff, money, empires, highways, but what was it actually like to live in Sardis? What did daily life look like for the average person walking those streets?
You know, I think the best way to imagine it comes from the archaeologists themselves. They describe the city's central complex as being, well, just like a modern shopping mall and social center. How cool is that for an analogy? This was the absolute heart of the city. And this complex was the ultimate all-in-one hub. It had a gymnasium for sports, these incredible public baths, a main street paved in marble lined with shops. It even had one of the ancient world's largest synagogues, which just goes to show you what a cosmopolitan and diverse place this must have been. And the innovation here just didn't stop. In the Roman era, Sardis had technology that feels incredibly modern. Get this, they had one of the world's first central heating systems. They were piping geothermal hot water through terracotta tubes built inside the walls to heat the shops. Can you imagine going shopping in a heated store 2,000 years ago? Unbelievable. All right, so beyond the hustle and bustle of the city center, Sardis was also a place of immense spiritual power and incredible construction, where they honored their gods and buried their legendary kings. 2. That's it, just 2. It's such a stark number, and it represents what's left of one of the most magnificent temples of the ancient world.
This was the Temple of Artemis. It was enormous, one of the largest temples of its kind ever built, rivaling the famous one at Ephesus. But over the centuries, time and earthquakes have just been brutal.
As recently as 1911, you could still see about 45 columns standing. Today, only 2 remain. And if you want to really understand the scale of this temple, look at this detail from those 1911 excavations. The archaeologists had to lay down temporary train tracks just to bring in a 5-ton steam-powered crane strong enough to lift the colossal stone blocks. That's the kind of massive engineering we're talking about.
So how did the Lydians bury their powerful kings and queens? Well, just north of the city, there's this incredible otherworldly landscape. It's called Bin Tepeler, or Thousand Mounds, and it's the largest burial ground of its kind in the entire world. A huge cemetery of man-made hills, each one covering the tomb of a Lydian royal.
And here's where ancient customs connect directly to modern language. The size of a king's burial mound often reflected how popular he was, because citizens would literally come and add soil to the tomb of a ruler they loved. This is believed to be the origin of the modern Turkish phrase toprağı bol olsun, which means may his earth be plentiful, a condolence still used today. Isn't that amazing?
So from inventing currency to engineering marvels and traditions that have lasted for millennia, the story of Sardis is just one of profound and enduring impact on the world.
And you know, the Lydian Golden Age was really just one chapter in a very long book. After the Persians, the city surrendered to Alexander the Great. It thrived under the Romans and the Byzantines, becoming a really important early Christian center. And its story continues even now, with its recent designation as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which recognizes its value to all of humanity.
And here's the best part. The story isn't over, not by a long shot. Right now, as we speak, archaeologists are on that site, peeling back new layers of history. Every single season brings new discoveries that deepen our understanding of this incredible place.
And that really brings us to a final big question. Sardes gave the world an idea, state-backed currency, that underpins our entire global economy today. So it really makes you wonder, what other revolutionary, world-changing ideas are still waiting to be discovered, buried just beneath the surface?